big blow coming in for Kotak Mahindra Bank as RBI cracks the whip on Kotak Mahindra Bank. For details, we are joined by Ankur. Ankur, take us through all those details and what has transpired exactly.
Yes, exactly. Now, this has come as a surprise and a shocker exactly for Kotak Mahindra Bank because this is a kind of embargo which will limit the bank for onboarding of new customers not only on the online platform but also in the addition of new credit cards. Now, why these actions are taken is important because the regulator is saying that in the absence of robust IT infrastructure and IT risk management framework, the bank's core banking system and its online digital banking channels have suffered frequent significant outages. Remember, we at ET Now had also reported several times of the outages of the bank which has been suffered at various levels. In fact, if you remember, exactly a few weeks back, ET Now had reported about the bank outages of different banks as well. So now this has caught attention of the regulator, and now the regulator has cracked the whip on Kotak Mahindra Bank, and now new customers cannot be onboarded on the online platform of Kotak Mahindra Bank, as well as addition of new credit card users is prohibited. We are also joined by Ashwin Parekh to discuss this matter in great detail. Ashwin, welcome to ET Now. My first question to you is, does this come as a surprise for you?
Well, actually, what seems to be happening now is that all the banks invested in technology, in the last few years. I mean, you're getting a clear message that with the speed with which the developments are taking place in the technology area and also in the risk management area, I think the RBI is getting more and more wary of, more and more concerned about the fact that technology, if it gets a little dated, for instance, and its ability, for instance, to really take care of or control of outages, then it does become difficult for the banking system. And these are large banks, basically. So, therefore, normally some kind of let's say, intervention by the RBI happens. We've seen this in the past as well. This is not something very new. I suppose once, let's say, the bank will make proper, let's say, correction then in technology and in risk management areas, I'm sure, then they will be able to go back to normal banking thereafter.
Right. One of the incidences which has been mentioned here in the release is on 15th of April. In fact, we also got this attention from several of the viewers. They complained to ET Now. We, in fact, visited the branch and checked what is exactly happening. We found that CBS, the core banking system of the bank, was not working for full day. We reached out to bank as well, and now specifically in the release this incident has been mentioned. Do you think regulator is getting more and more strict on such kind of instances, and what is the exact reason for that?
Yeah, see, basically this is exactly what I was trying to point out. And this is not only true for this bank. I suppose it's going to be true for most of the banks. See, what may have happened is that, banks have invested in their core applications, particularly their core banking application. Now, soon, we know that with a lot of sort of online banking, with a lot of mobile banking, which is now coming up, things are becoming redundant as well at the same speed. So, banks will have to continuously invest, continuously update. And this is not only in case of banks. We find a similar situation with also regulated entities in broking. For example, we find that the technology glitches have to be reported to both the exchanges as well as to the regulator. This has become a very normal thing within financial services. But the redeeming factor is that, the regulator wants to protect the customers, and make sure there are no such outages. But at the same time, progressive banks and progressive entities respond. They make the necessary changes, make the necessary corrections, and then get back, basically,
Few more things I want to highlight here. So the regulator is saying that these are not one-off instances. The release clearly says, in past 2 years, Reserve Bank of India has been in continuous high-level engagement with the bank on all these concerns with a view to strengthen the IT system. So this is not one of the instances which is just mentioned by Reserve Bank of India. These kind of instances, sometimes which are reported, sometimes these are not reported, but it was definitely monitored by Reserve Bank of India, and hence this kind of action has been taken by the regulator. Now, what do you think will be the way out for the bank?
Well, I mean, first and foremost, of course, is the bank will have to satisfy itself. I mean, before it goes out and satisfies the regulator and the customers, that the adequate sort of, changes or adequate precautions are made in that technology kind of environment and the processes as well. Because such outages basically, do affect the banking system very badly. I mean, in banking, as you know, one leg of the transaction may fall in one bank, the other transaction will always, the leg of the transaction may fall in some other bank as well. So, I mean, the regulator would certainly be very concerned, about something, things like these basically,
We are also joined by Aditya Shah, who is founder of Hercules Advisors. Welcome to ET Now. As we were discussing about what has led to the regulator on such kind of restriction, Aditya, I want to understand here, banks after banks, these kind of instances has been happening. What is the real reason? It is due to the certain spurt in the volume of customers, the infra of the bank is not ready. What can be the real reason?
So what is happening is the RBI has become even more vigilant over the last 1.5, 2 years, where it is trying to check the systemic risks that are originating. You can remember that there was an ILFS crisis, there was a Yes Bank crisis that happened, and people had said that the RBI had not regulated the sector really well. So what is happening now? The RBI is regulating the sector really well. It is making surprise checks and balances for all banks right now at this stage. And within those checks, where somewhere RBI is finding deficiencies, RBI is taking action and telling the banks to improve their systems. If the banks are not improving systems on their own, then RBI is coming, and then RBI is enforcing some regulatory actions on them, as we've seen today on Kotak Mahindra Bank, where they have been forced to stop onboarding of the credit cards.
Impact, have you done some kind of calculation if you would have got time? How much of the impact do you think it will be there on Kotak Mahindra Bank per se on the online banking part, and also the embargo is there on addition of new credit card customers as well?
So Kotak is a very, very small player in the credit cards business. Nearly about 4 to 5% of their business comes from of the overall outstanding comes from the credit cards business. So materially, number-wise, there will be very little impact on Kotak Mahindra Bank. However, sentimentally, there will be a negative impact. Already the bank is undergoing a transition where Uday Kotak has gone out and a new management has come in. And now at the same time, there has been a regulatory action. Kotak Mahindra Bank was always known for its superior compliance standards. And now with the regulator coming in, this will not go too well sentimentally. However, number-wise, there will be a very, very minute impact of 2 to 3% on the overall profitability for the bank.
If you like this video, then like, share and subscribe to ET Now.